So my oldest son came to me the other day and said, "Dad, I want to get a job." I said, "Great, why?" Of course, he wants to get a job because he wants to earn money. He wants to save money. He said he wants to save up $1,000 over the next 9 months before the end of the next school year. And I said, "That's great. Do you have anything in particular that you want to spend the money on? Or is this just in general? You want to have money to buy things?" He said, "Yeah, I want to have money to buy things so I don't always have to ask and beg you and Mom to purchase things for me," because that's something that we've been talking a lot more about as he has entered these teenage years. Now, the thing is, he just turned 14 years old. So most companies out there, whether they're a big corporation or even just a small time little mom and pop organization here in town, they're not going to hire a 14-year-old. And that can be a problem for some people because they don't think about having a job other than working for someone else, other than going to a company and earning a paycheck, whether that be an hourly wage or a salary compensation. And luckily for me, I have been in a commission-based job or career for almost 20 years now. And even before that, I was working for a very small business that was basically owned and operated by the people within the business that were working in it, which would be myself and a few other people. And so we started talking and we say, "Well, would you want to go and work here? Would you want to go and work there?" "Oh, they don't hire 14-year-olds. Said, "Okay, understandable." So I said, "What else can you do that people need done that they will pay you or someone for?" And he started thinking, "Well, I guess I could babysit kids." I said, "That's great. You've done that before a couple of times. Yeah, you could babysit." I said, "Do you know how to mow our grass?" Right? He said, "Yep, I can mow grass." I said, "You could pick up leaves?" "Yeah, Dad, I could pick up leaves." I said, "How about hauling rock back and forth or putting mulch in garden beds or trimming weeds or doing outdoor work?" "Oh yeah, I could do all those things." "Okay, how about hauling an old lady's storage stuff up and down from her basement, or, doing demo on some carpet or whatever home improvement jobs that they have?" He said, "Yeah, I could probably do much of that stuff." So I said, "Great. Why don't we work on a list of things that you can do that people would pay you for? We'll come up with a flyer and we'll call it your little, household services. And I'll help you print up flyers and we'll go around, we'll knock on doors, you'll leave your flyer behind and you'll list all of your services on there. So that way, if somebody has kids and they might want you to babysit, it's on the flyer. If they don't have kids, but they want you to mow their grass, it's on the flyer. If they don't want you to mow the grass because they have a professional do it, but they do have some rock or something that they need, hauled in and out, or they need some other projects done around the house that you can help with, boom, you have it on the flyer. So that's a great lesson because he was only thinking about a one-track income. He was only considering working for someone else to start. And then when we started talking about what he could do, he began with only one thing. Said, "Well, yeah, I could babysit." I said, "That's great." And he started thinking and talking about putting a flyer together just for babysitting. I said, "Well, why limit yourself to just babysitting? Why not try to advertise all the different things that you can do so that when you go around to all these neighbors and people in the area, they know what you can do, right? And then you can get referrals based on the other list of items on there. So maybe they don't have a job for you, but they know of someone else down the street or half a mile away that needs their grass cut or needs some babysitting or needs some odd jobs taken care of." And that way you can build up a customer base from people that aren't even your customers, technically. You can use that word of mouth marketing to your advantage as a brand new business, essentially. So he agreed and we're starting to work on that. But I was just thinking about this as a good lesson to all of you parents out there of kids that are coming of age like that. They're starting to think about money. They're starting to think about wealth building and about savings and about finding their way in the world. And I think it's really important for us as parents to step outside maybe what our parents or grandparents taught us. Because back in their day, it was about going and getting a job and finding someone else to employ you, and then you were kind of safe, right? The problem with that, and this is kind of partially relates to my son, as I said, you could go and work at that fast food place, right? And you might like it, and that's great. But if they hire you, they're going to expect you to be there 3 or 4 shifts a week minimum. So what happens when you're out of town, or what happens when you go back to school and you don't have enough time to fulfill those hours? They're going to fire you. He said, yeah, that wouldn't work. I said, exactly. So you got to get out of the old traditional employee-employer mindset when you have a young person starting to make their way. Now, here's the other thing about my son. He is very gifted. He has musical gifts. He's got athletic gifts. He has some video editing, some technology in him as well. He's got a bunch of different avenues he could go down. I even said to him, hey, if you wanted to edit videos for small businesses or something like that, then you could advertise your services with businesses around town. That would be something that you could do, which is out of the box, and you could charge small fee to begin with, and then if they like it, you could do repeat fees, and you could have a subscription. You could manage somebody's social media technically in 2, 3, 4 years. And you could go down that road of marketing and advertising and, you know, all the different AI stuff that's coming here. You could become an expert on that before it gets too oversaturated. He said, that's a good idea too, Dad. So there's a lot of different things that he could do to earn money and to make money in this economy right now, because it's completely different than 20 or 30 years ago when we were getting started. My first job was being a janitor at my church on the weekends, before and after the Sunday service. I would go there, I would unlock some doors, I would fill up water glasses for the pastor in the pulpit. I would put out some no parking signs outside. I would, clean up papers after the service. I would lock doors up. I would help out with a couple of cleaning things. And I think I got like $10 every Sunday for doing maybe 15, 20 minutes of work, And those little things are still out there, and it wasn't much money, right? I think I maybe only had like one Sunday a month because it rotated between a few different people. But that's a small way to kind of figure out what you're worth. And I figured out pretty fast after a couple of years of doing that I was worth more money than just $10, every month. And so then my first real job was working basically fast food or concessions at a ballpark in town. And way back in those days, my pay was only $6.50 an hour plus tips, okay? Nowadays, that might be $9, $10, $15 an hour plus tips still. And that was fine, if you did really well and if you had a good crowd, you actually made some decent money, but you did sacrifice your time for money. And that's one thing that, although I'm telling him he can do some of these hourly wage jobs, it's something that we've constantly been talking about with him and our other kids in the recent months and years now, is that you want to make sure you don't lock yourself in to exchanging time for money, because time is finite, okay? You can't get any more time back. So if you sacrifice an hour, you want to make sure you're getting good compensation back. But eventually what you want to figure out is, how can I scale my time and how can I leverage my time to get even more money, so where I don't have to worry about exchanging that time for a finite amount of money. I can get an infinite amount of money back for the same amount of time, okay? So those are things that wealthy people do, and those are the conversations that they have with their kids if they want to keep their kids growing and maturing and getting better than they were when they were younger. So a couple of thoughts for you today. I hope this got some wheels turning in your head if you have kids out there that are thinking about earning money, that are going out and getting jobs, and maybe they're going to college soon and they're trying to figure out what to do with their life. Remind them that it's not just all about the compensation, it's about the leverage, it's about the scalability, and it's about what they're going to get returned from their time eventually after they build whatever they're trying to build. So thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and leave a like down below. Subscribe for more information here on building wealth, success, and motivation. Until next time, we'll see ya. Peace.